Yo, what's good? I'm back. I know it's been a minute. I just want to say thank you to everyone that's still been looking at videos on my page, liking, commenting. I'm back, man. Let's get into it. Y'all read it. I had to kick a student off the truck. I didn't want to do it, but it's very unfortunate. This student only had 5,000 miles left to complete before he upgraded to get his own truck. The whole issue started with him driving the nights, him driving the mountains, him driving around the curves. I never had a student that complained so much about the trucking lifestyle. And what I tried to explain to him multiple times was that, you know, trucking is not a regular job. 1 year in trucking can equal 3 years at a regular 9 to 5. So a situation transpired where we got routed through Springfield so he could pick up his TWIC card. We got there on a Friday at like 3:55. The TWIC office closes at 4 o'clock. He was unable to get it. That day, when we pulled in, he told me right then and there, I want to stay here. I said, okay, notify the fleet manager if you want to stay here, but if you want to get your stuff on the truck, that's fine. I ain't have an issue with it. He wound up getting back. He wound up staying on the truck, and we wound up going to California. Everything was cool. Everything was fine. He was braking a lot, so I'm just trying to coach him through it. Like, you gotta coast through the mountains, use the Jake, and stab brake a lot. After California, we went up to Washington. A little bit more, he's getting more frustrated with the mountain driving, so I explained to him again. I'm like, hey man, majority of the country is mountains. The East Coast, the West Coast, and you got rolling hills in the Midwest. He's upset with me because he has to drive at night, but the way our loads were being given to us, that's how the schedule was going. I even switched it to where I was driving at nights and he was driving in the days, and it was still an issue because he was still driving on the mountains and sharp curves. So on this particular load that we had, we picked up in Southern California, and we had to take it to Indiana. We came back, we came through Springfield, we attempted again for him to get his TWIC card. This guy stops talking to me completely. I'm fine with that. Like, if you don't want to talk, that's fine. But on the truck, we're gonna be respectful to each other. I'm gonna give it to you to be respectful, and I want it back likewise. He tells me one evening when we're leaving out, I'm not driving no more. And I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, cool. And then he decides to drive anyway. So before we leave the terminal, I have a conversation with him like, hey man, let's squash, what's your issue? Let's squash this. Like, let's just get to a conclusion so you can get done and you can get your own truck. If you ask me personally, I think he was more upset that he completed his miles, but he thought the upgrade process was instantly, which it isn't. Time and time again, I tell students, people I bump into at the campus that it's a process. You can't rush it. You're not gonna rush a company that's been around for 40 years for one person. It doesn't work like that. So we wound up driving. He doesn't want to talk to me. We get to the 90 of our delivery in Indiana. This dude he gets there on time. He doesn't go in and check in at all. We just sitting there. The whole time I'm awake in the back. So I get up, I go check in. I instantly call my fleet manager like, hey man, let me bring this guy back in. He's having an issue with this. He's complaining about this. Please understand, this is a lifestyle if you choose to get into trucking. Like, please, I know everybody sees the YouTube videos. Y'all see how much money people's making. And yes, there's a lot of people out here making money like that, but when you first get into trucking, you're going to sacrifice. You're going to pay your dues. Nobody just gets in here and it's instant gratification. Okay, boom, I made 4 bands this month. I made 5 bands this month, or this week, that week. It's not like that. You're gonna pay your dues. You're gonna be homesick. You're gonna go through a lot of issues. So my student had a friend that worked at Prime that was telling him how to access his hours of service. So me and the student are talking. He's like, oh, I'm driving more hours than you. So I go to my Prime app, I pull out my phone and I show him, like, listen, like, look, I drive more hours than you and I drive more miles than you per day. He got upset, he didn't say anything. I'm just trying to show him some transparency because he's thinking he's doing so much more driving. But when you knew driving 8 hours, 7 hours, 9 hours a day is a lot. Usually when I get a new student, I break it up. I simplify it so it's simple. I'm gonna start you off one day with 4 hours, the next day with 6. I may drop it down to 3, and then I'm gonna build you up so that one day you're gonna drive a straight 11 clock, take a 30 and drive your whole 11-hour clock. Because it's all about building endurance out here over the road. He was mad about that I proved him wrong, and an argument that he brought up, but I guess he didn't want to understand or listen to me to try to get an understanding of it, and it was really unfortunate. Another situation that happened was that we picked up another load in California, and with this student, I only had him for 2 weeks. I'd never been to California so many times in my life. We picked up a load, and the reefer alternator died, so I had to go back like 100 miles to take it to a carrier so it to get fixed. And at this time, I'm running out of hours on my 14-hour clock. So I'm trying to explain to him, I'm like, listen, I'm running out of hours on my 14-hour clock. You're gonna have to drive. And it wasn't like he was driving all night. The student really was driving from 3 at night to 3 in the afternoon, which I think is the best shift if you ask me. But other people may not think so. So we did that. He was upset again. I'm just like, oh my goodness, man. I never been around a guy that complained about the job that he chose. It's not like the job chose him or he got drafted to something. He was just complaining about something that he decided to do. And it's really unfortunate. His whole attitude changed on our last load. I picked up a load from Indiana and I dropped it at Springfield. I drove the entire night. I woke him up when I took my 30. I was about 100 miles out. I said, man, I'm dropping you off at the turn. He's all happy and he's spunked now. Like, now he wants to conversate and do all. Now I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk because now this shit is phony. You feel me? So I dropped him off at the campus and you know, I bumped into him like early this year, 23, in the wintertime in New Jersey, and he was teaming with his homeboy, and he was driving the nights, he was driving the mountains, and I guess he learned his lesson in everything that happened on my truck and the issues that we may have had. And like I told him to his face, and I told my fleet manager, I will still help you to this day, because as a truck driver, as truck drivers all of us are, or aspiring to be, we only as good as the people that we help and the people out here that's driving alongside of us. If we don't do that, then shit, we could be dead or anything could happen out here, God forbid. But I just wanted to give you guys an update on that story, an update on my life, what's going on. But I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, man. Y'all already know what to do, man. Hit that button. Peace.